It's 5:39 a.m. here on your Tuesday morning, shifting gears back to Hurricane Ian. Man, I'm just looking at the fairgrounds, and I remember when I first started here in 2018, Hurricane Michael impacted the fair. Now we're talking about Ian, but the fair is not in play this year.
Yes, thankfully. And thankfully, you were saying we're not going to be getting exactly what we got during Michael.
Yeah, far from it, but still a tropical system nonetheless. It looks like the wind and rain from it coming through central Georgia. I'll show you the details on that here in just a moment, but also the fairgrounds jumping in to help out as well, a place for equestrian and animals to evacuate to. So great job on their part. 53 there in Macon, 54 in Warner Robins, Dublin, and in Perry this morning. We've got 54 in Forsyth, 57 in Roberta, 55 down in Cochrane, and 63 out in Swainsboro. The air much drier this morning. No humidity out there. It is a fairly nice morning here to get your Tuesday started. But as we head through the day today, temperature is going to begin to warm up. Not quite as warm as we got yesterday. How about mid to upper 70s before all is said and done? Then into the evening tonight, notice a few clouds begin to build in. We get that arcing feature to it. That is the far northern cloud deck of this hurricane already making it here to central Georgia. Tomorrow morning, going to be looking at temperatures in the 50s, maybe a few 40s sprinkled in. But then Wednesday afternoon and evening, the cloud cover really begins to build in. Here is the latest on Ian. It is a Category 3 hurricane, winds of 125 miles an hour. It made landfall about 4:30 there on the Cuban coast as it crosses into the Gulf of Mexico. A hurricane warning in effect there for the western part of Cuba. They're over towards the far reaches of the Florida Keys. Elsewhere, a tropical storm warning up there in Florida. Also a hurricane warning from the Tampa area down to Fort Myers and Naples. Tropical storm warning, Orlando, Melbourne, down into southwest Florida. And then a tropical storm watch now towards the north. And this does include coastal Camden County, coastal Glenn County, so St. Simons, Brunswick, St. Mary's, down towards Amelia Island there across the St. Mary's River and into Jacksonville included in that watch now. That's going to continue to expand towards the north as we watch this storm move towards the north. As we play this forward, that is a Category 3 hurricane very close to Tampa early in the morning there on Thursday. The cone from the National Hurricane Center does bring this over the Florida Peninsula, but the reality is anywhere right along this white line is where the center could be, say Thursday morning at 2 a.m., Friday morning at 2 a.m., and so forth as you follow the track north. So don't lock in on that center line right there. Look at the cone, and that's where the center could be, and that includes potentially coming right through central Georgia, even though the center of the line shows it Macon to Savannah, somewhere right in there, and then eventually towards the Charlotte area. So we've got a lot of information to watch with this. These are our major global models. A few of these you're going to recognize. This GFSL, that's the GFS. This GFSE, that's also the GFS. That's the early and late runs. This yellow line right here, that's the European model. You can see the general consensus is, regardless of it coming on shore or not, it ends up in central Georgia one way or another. So what you need to know this morning is that Ian is now a major hurricane crossing into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's going to continue to do that over the next few hours. Recent model trends are sending the center of the storm over the Florida Peninsula, which for us, that means probably less of an impact in terms of the wind because the storm will have more opportunity to weaken. But the reality is, this is going to be very different from a tropical storm making landfall there along the Florida coast and moving into central Georgia. This is going to be a major hurricane, which means as it weakens, the wind field grows, which means the impacts are felt across a bigger area. And so nonetheless, we are still expecting rain and wind, a high possibility here in central Georgia as we get into the end of the week. We're talking Friday into Saturday, and it now looks like maybe even into Sunday as well, as this is going to be somewhat of a slow mover in terms of getting the moisture out of here. The center is going to keep moving. It's the moisture we need to keep moving as well. For today, look for a high temperature of 79. It's a cool start. Look for higher fire danger as well. These winds out of the north, 5 to 10, gusts to 20 with the dry air do make for potentially some high fire danger conditions. So not a great day to be burning anything. Sunrise is at 7:26. There's the 7-day forecast. A nice stretch of about 3 days or so before we get Ian in here for the weekend. It looks like rain and wind. We do have that forecast written in pencil. Could the rain chances go down? Yes. Could they go up? Yes. We've got a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things we need to figure out with this storm, but it does look like a wet weekend here in central Georgia.